It is Monday, April the 15th, Monday Wager Talk Today. We're live every Monday through Friday, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific here on Wager Talk TV. And don't forget to watch us live as well on YouTube Shorts and Instagram Live. We take the viewer questions. We'll try to answer them here during the live show. But of course, on the replay, always leave questions and comments below as well here on YouTube. I am Steve Merril, filling in once again for the Prez. You cashed in on Plus Money Friday. Teddy said he might not make it Monday, and he cashed a Plus Money bet heading into the weekend. So I get one more day with Teddy Covers as my co-host, and we have a great show on Monday here, talking lots of baseball because the NBA regular season finished yesterday on Sunday. We have most of the NBA playoff matchups, no, not quite all of them. Teddy's actually going to give us a series pick and big game breakdown a little bit later in one of those matchups in the Western Conference. Don't forget also, NBA Tip-Off Show will be on live today and every weekday at 4:15 Eastern as we start talking more about the playoffs. But lots of baseball talk today with Bryan, Leonard, and Adam Trigger at the top. And then also a little NHL talk in baseball with our resident Canadian for Monday, Andrew McInnis. Let's bring on Bryan Leonard. If you're with us Friday, he led off. He did a great job. So we're bringing him right back on Monday as our leadoff hitter once again. And Bryan, welcome to the show. Big baseball Monday. The Red Sox game is underway already for Patriots Day, I guess, in Boston, an 11 a.m. start. But we have 14 other games all in the nighttime card. So it's a huge card tonight on Monday. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. As you said, we played on Friday. Came back today. I must be facing the lefties. Anytime there's a lefty on the night, you got me leading off.
It's your speed, Bryan. You're at the top of the order because of your speed. You get on base and you steal. So
we're in trouble.
Definitely your lightning fast speed.
I run pretty fast for a fat guy, not as an athlete. But let's take a look at the San Diego-Milwaukee game. This is a tough scheduling spot for the Padres, who just went head-to-head with the Dodgers in L.A., and it doesn't help that they played Sunday Night Baseball in a game that was tied, and they had that nice comeback and took the lead and won the game. But the five key bullpen arms for the Padres pitched 2 out of the last 3 days. So it's going to be a tough day for them if they don't get extension out of Joe Musgrove. And he struggled in the preseason, and his MLB numbers haven't been very good since the season started. He's currently has career highs in barrels per plate appearances and exit velocity, so he's getting hit pretty hard. His expected batting average is a whopping .351 with a career low strikeout percentage of 19.8. So it's clear he's still not fully healthy. He's one of the very good pitchers in Major League Baseball when he is healthy, but right now you're betting on him to get back to where he normally is. He's just not there yet. And it's one of those wait-and-see situations for myself. I'll back him, but I'll back him when I know he's completely back. His counterpart on the mound is Joe Ross, who's had a career problem staying healthy. He missed the entire 2020, 2022, and 2023 seasons. Now, when looking at his pitching value, his Savant numbers have been much more successful than Musgrove. His pitching run value is 82 with a 98 breaking ball run value. That's excellent. Joe Musgrove has a 17 pitching run value, and his fastball coming in at 14. His breaking ball only at 9%. His off-speed pitches have been great, 89. But you just can't get by throwing one pitch in Major League Baseball, and that's our concern here. From an offensive standpoint, the Padres ranked 8th in WRC Plus at 113. The Brewers 3rd at 127, with San Diego playing their big rivals in the Dodgers and then having to travel here. I know it's Milwaukee's first game back. They did play two road trips, one road trip, 2 different teams, but they're back. But I like the Brewers tonight, and I think there's value in this pitcher because when he is healthy, he's done a pretty good job.
So we've seen, from the open, we've seen a 50-cent move on this game, Brian. We saw at the open, DraftKings opened San Diego minus 135, and now I'm seeing is minus 115 for Milwaukee. With the line move that we've seen, and it's significant. This is not a little one. This is a big one.
Right.
Is there still, at the current number, value with the Brewers in this pick-em price range, or is the money been the value been sucked out of the equation already?
Well, we did lose a lot of the value, unfortunately, but I think there still is some value on Milwaukee based on Joe Musgrove. People just looking at his history without looking at the way he's pitched this year, and I think that gives us an advantage here. But you're right, we've lost a lot of our value overnight, and I've said this before. We always send our plays up overnight so the people in the working behind the scenes can have these great promos put up and all the ads and everything. So we got to get it to them as quick as possible. And we have lost some value in that regard, but it also means that a lot of the smart money is on Milwaukee here, and I agree.
And once again, the beauty of baseball is if you win, you win. It's not like a point spread sport where you're going to get caught by the hook or by the line move here. So he still thinks there's value, and obviously the sharp betting market comes in early. They're validating Bryan Leonard there as well. We've been Prez free here for 3 days, but we got to get people ready for Prez if he comes back tomorrow. And it's funny, Teddy and Bryan, I was in the rotation, my sky blue collared shirt or my dark red collared shirt, and I was about to go sky blue. I'll go all dark red. Teddy is wearing the sky blue. So probably a good thing we're not matching for the whole show. But look at Bryan and me. Almost identical. And what we don't do overnight is tell people what we're wearing because we're guys, and we literally, at least I decide about 5 minutes before the show, whatever's laying on the sofa in the bedroom. And I know Teddy has the rotation for the Blazers as well. But I'm laughing here because those are the two color choices. And either way, I would have been matching somebody on the set right now. Bryan, we got MLB first pitch later today at 2 o'clock Eastern. Every weekday, of course, you're on the show a lot with me during the week, so I recommend people check that out for a deep baseball dive. But I want to get to one more game while we still have you. Let's look at a National League matchup here. Diamondbacks, Cubs. What are you doing with this one?
Yeah, Ben Brown makes the start today for the Cubs. He's their number 3 ranked prospect. He has a really good fastball at 96.5 miles per hour. But unfortunately, the opposition is sending it right back at him at 96.3 exit velocity. He's been hit hard so far. I think he's going to have success in the future, but he just doesn't have enough pitches right now. His pitching run value is at 34 with a 20 on his fastball. Does have a bright future, but as I said, needs to expand his repertoire. His four-seamer and knuckle curve are thrown 98.3% of the time. You've got to have more than 2 pitches at this area, especially if they're hitting the fastball back at him just as fast as he's throwing it in there. The 3 back end of the bullpen pitchers were used each of the last 2 days for the Cubs. So the Cubs will likely have their lesser relievers pitching key innings here. They want to get 5. They'd love to get 6 out of Brown here, but he has not gone very far in his earlier starts. So I'm looking for him to maybe go 4 innings here and open up the bullpen, and it'll be the long relievers. So that's something I always want to go against is when you get the long relievers that are going to come in the game and pitch. And that's because the back of the bullpen is just not available. Merril Kelly, 2 R's, 2 L's, is on the mound here going for Arizona. He's one of the most underrated starters in baseball. He has a mediocre strikeout percentage of 22.2, but he keeps the opposition off balance. 5.6 walk rate, 25.5 hard hit rate, an expected batting average of 213. His pitching run value is 83, with a fastball coming in at 80. His off-speed run value at 96. Been very impressive. Unlike his young counterpart, Kelly throws 6 pitches at least 7% of the time, and that's what gives him a big advantage here. All of the 4 late inning relievers will be available tonight, so Arizona's stacked in the back of the bullpen. Arizona, we take a look at offense, they get a 3% better WRC plus on this season than the Chicago Cubs, and Arizona rested their catcher and their third baseman yesterday. So they're coming back more fresh in this game than Chicago is. More of a fade on Chicago than a play on Arizona, but I love Merril Kelly. He seems to show value all the time. And based on what the pitching situation is for the Cubs here, I want to fade that.
So throughout Arizona's run last year to the World Series, they were consistently an undervalued commodity. The betting markets never respected Arizona. They never respected the lineup. They never respected the pitching staff. Are you sensing the same thing this year from the markets about the Arizona Diamondbacks? Because it looks to me like day after day, Arizona's like a little bit underpriced, and the markets just don't, compared to where my numbers are, I'm seeing that if so, why do you think the markets continue to undervalue this D-backs team? Is it all just the starting pitching isn't good enough, or what is it?
Yeah, this is a team that came as a surprise last year. I liked Arizona. I think just about everybody liked Arizona, but they came a year early. And so I think people are going to expect Arizona to take a step back, and that makes a lot of sense. And I would agree with them in that regard. I don't see them possibly making they could still possibly make the playoffs here, but I don't think they're going to threaten the Dodgers on the season. Maybe it's a situation where Arizona is not that popular of a baseball team, even when they were good, when the Diamondbacks were very good and they won the World Series. They were never really favored in those games. They, when they had Randy Johnson, yes, but this pitching staff is stacked with guys that are good pitchers. Obviously Kelly, Webb. They've got some good pitchers. They got Montgomery probably coming up today, but this is a group that doesn't get the recognition. They're out here in the desert, not a lot of fans. If you're a West Coast fan, you're probably a Dodgers fan. You may even be an Angels fan or a Padres fan. Not a lot of people talk about Arizona, and so you get a lot of visibility that way. It's like going back east and trying to fade the Yankees and the Red Sox. Yeah, pretty good success doing that because those are the big name teams in that area. So yeah, it's a team that's very good. I don't think they're quite as good as they were last year. Carroll has had a shoulder problem, so he's still in bases, but he's not hitting for power this year. That's a concern for Arizona when your best player is that way. But I agree. So far, I have found very few opportunities to go against Arizona because, as you mentioned, this is a team that seems to show value each and every day.
You're muted,
baseball,
Steve.
they're averaging over. I am?
Oh, no, you're good now.
No, you're good.
Someone muted you. You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
The powers that be. I was going to say they got one of the stronger offensive parks usually year after year, and they're averaging over 6 runs a game at home already this season. So we'll see if that continues against the Cubbies tonight. Merril Kelly, pitcher with a last name for a first name for a last name. You would think if they're going to have a kid as a pitcher, you wouldn't put 2 L's in that name, but they didn't know ahead of time probably. I love that line, Bryan. And once again, Bryan Leonard, WagerTalk.com. He'll be on the MLB show Wednesday and Friday later this week, so check him out here on WagerTalk TV. Bryan, you got a bonus free game, another baseball free play on your page right now for Monday. Also some best bets. Let people know what you got going on. I know NHL's right around the corner with the playoffs as well.
It definitely is. And these are my 2 best bets in baseball today. And I also like that free play, as you mentioned. I put that up there. Still working on the hockey card. Don't know if I'll have anything today, but it's the last few days of the hockey season, very much like the NBA season. Motivation is a key. And we saw out of Cleveland yesterday, the Cleveland Cavaliers in that motivation. They basically let the opposition win so they can get an easier draw in the first round. We'll have to see what happens. But I love playoff hockey. I love NBA in the playoffs. That's when everybody's going to play. So I'm real excited about the playoffs right around the corner.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. I mean, we got football several months away, but baseball a daily moneymaker. But NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, we definitely with the NBA don't have to worry about load management anymore. It's a nice time to make some money. And Teddy Covers and myself, Steve Merril, we have won consistently in the NBA playoffs for decades. And you can find both of us on the NBA tip-off show at 4 o'clock Eastern weekdays this week as well. And Teddy, you're getting a bigger jump, man. I'm looking at YouTube this morning, and what pops up at Teddy Covers with a baseball cap. And I was like, this is what I got to watch. And I believe this might be a regular series you're doing now with the playoffs, correct?
Yeah, no, we're looking at a new daily video. I've been doing the NFL opening line report every Monday during football season for the 20-plus years now. And we're like, what can we do for daily content that's good, that's quick, that'll get bettors important information? And we're going to do the opening line report, just like what I do on Mondays during football season. But we're going to do it daily and real early. That means me putting on my baseball cap because I haven't gotten myself all trimmed and proper to be on the show yet. The goal is to have this posted every day by 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Hopefully we'll be able to meet that goal. And it's all quick hitters. We're talking about lines that stand out, what's on the move, what to bet now, what to bet till later in the day. And it's just me unfiltered. So there's no Prez, there's no Merril, there's no guess. It's just me talking about what I know about the betting market. So today's show, we talked about the NBA play-in game lines. I tried to talk about the NBA series prices, but they weren't posted yet. That being said, they're posted now. We'll talk about that in Big Game Breakdown. We talked about some of the Game 1 lines, all the Game 1 lines for Saturday, Sunday, and, of course, MLB lines on the move for today. Again, the focus, where are the numbers going to move? Where are they now? What do you want to bet now? What do you want to bet later? What's on Teddy's short list? So again, today was the first try. I didn't think I was great. I'll be better. But the show itself, and again, it's going to be tight. or we're talking 10 minutes or less every day. I think today's show went about 7 minutes or so, or today's podcast went 7 minutes. But that's the opening line report now each and every weekday right here at WagerTalk.com. Of course, I do want to give you guys a couple. First, Prez called me. Prez literally called me this morning. He said, make sure you mention my 5% in the NHL. Can you promo my 5% in the NHL? So Lawrence Presman has a 5% in the NHL for today. You can take advantage of that right now. I wouldn't buy that. I would take advantage of the last day of the month +7 promo, 30 +7. It expires at midnight tonight. Third day all access is normally $299. It's been discounted to $239. Plus, we've added 7 days free. That'll get you into the conference finals and the playoffs. It includes all 5% plays. There's nothing more to buy. There's no bait and switch. And again, it expires midnight tonight, tax day, April 15th. Less than $6.50 per day. It's cheaper than $9 Mondays. And it's a great offer. No coupon code needed. Just visit WagerTalk.com and take advantage of that 30 +7 promo. Get you 37 days, all access from the capper of your choice. Steve?
Yeah, it's a great deal. First of all, the 30-day package itself is already discounted from the normal price, and that expires tonight. Plus, they're including another 7 days, a $99 weekly value included. So it's a great offer, and it's all sports, all access. Any play that Teddy has or that I have or the Prez has, anybody, you get everything. It's emailed, texted to you directly when it comes out, so you can first act on it. And with these videos, do us a favor. If you're liking Teddy's video, comment when you watch it. Let him know what you want to see. He'll, fine-tune it. I'm doing the same thing here with the NBA playoffs. I'll maybe start this tomorrow with the play-in games. I'm going to try to do a video for every day of the NBA playoffs and get it up maybe even the night before, since we usually have a day in between, kind of like I do with college and pro football. And once again, interact with us. That's why we're doing these videos, because we want to put out what you want to see. Otherwise, we're just spinning our wheels. So please comment below, like, subscribe, and hit that bell as well for instant alerts. You know when these videos go up, you will get alerted when Teddy's opening line report hits the shelves here at Wager Talk TV on a daily basis. I want to thank everybody also that's watching us on YouTube Shorts. Keep in mind you can watch us live there. UC Panda, Gio from Canada, 2 of our regulars. Great to see you there. Of course, a lot of our regulars watching us on YouTube on Wager Talk TV live. Big Daddy's always in the house giving us salutes. I appreciate it. Sean Alvarez as well. Have Cash, one of the most regular viewers we have also. Eric DeLong. And these aren't just viewers. They're sharp bettors as well. You guys interact in the chat. I love how you share picks back and forth. We do have a quick question actually in the chat about AI and how that could change things going down the road. I won't dig into it too much from Trevor Culpus, but look, we see it still in the financial markets, Trevor. Everyone's automating the quant systems, but there's still a human element. The in-game betting lines, Dave Sharapen's talked about it a lot. They're somewhat automated. You can use that to your advantage, though, to be honest, because there's still a human element. If you see a guy hobbling out there, maybe a guy that's slightly injured, they're not factoring that in because he's still on the court, he's still scoring, or if a coach says something. Teddy, I caught something during the game. I was on live with Morency on Sports Grid a few Fridays ago. I believe it was the Creighton. It was maybe Creighton, Oregon. It was one of the games Creighton was in. And I think at halftime he said, we need to start playing faster. And I told the viewers live on the show, I go, second half over. And the game did go over. And then the full game ended up going over. That's something the robots aren't picking up on yet. So, there's still a human element. But any quick thoughts on AI revolution sports betting is what Trevor was asking.
So, AI is already responsible for all in-game lines, basically. You might see minor tweaks, but really, there's not enough time. The algorithm spits out a number, the AI spits out a number, and that's the number. And then the bettors bet into that number. But when it comes to, I would love to see more AI, okay, and more groups betting AI, et cetera, because the edges that cappers have, all right, not number crunchers, the edges that cappers have are stuff that's not necessarily reflected in the numbers. The work we do is not about finding what the markets have already priced in. It's about finding what the markets haven't priced in correctly. AI will continue to have that flaw, not knowing what the markets aren't pricing in and not recognizing what the markets aren't pricing correctly. So I'm all in favor of more AI betting. It gives handicappers that cap that much more of an edge. I really think it would. That being said, the live lines are all AI generated now, essentially.
Right, and that's the best example of it being in place right now. And like you said, I mean, keep in mind, anything that's automated quant or AI is based on past data. It's data in, data out. It's trying to predict the future, which is the great unknown. And so you got to find your edges. And I think, Teddy, you're exactly right. I'd love to see more of it also. In fact, we've seen a lot of the point spread now. Everything's numerical. The odds makers, the Ken Palm rankings, all that stuff is all incorporated into everyone's line of thought. So what you want to do as a handicapper, like Teddy said, is kind of look and try to find alpha, as they would call it in the financial markets. Everything's beta. You want to find some alpha. And a lot of times you can do that by using the human element. And I think that's actually a way to beat the sports betting markets long-term, even with AI in them. Trevor, thank you for the question. Guys, keep commenting. Watch us on Instagram Live as well. Let's bring in Adam Trigger, talk some more baseball. And Adam, you and I will be on the MLB show at 2 o'clock Eastern with the great Dan Alexander, talking more baseball. And we take interactive questions as well on that show. You and I will have some free plays, but also answer any questions the viewers have. But let's look at a couple of MLB games here on Wager Talk today while we've got you. And we'll start off with one here for Monday night. Blue Jays, Yankees, very interesting game to talk about. I actually cashed with the Blue Jays as my best bet on the run line with Barris yesterday, Barris on Sunday. Blue Jays had underperformed a little bit the first few weeks of the season. Obviously, the Yankees have looked pretty strong. Big matchup here in the American League East on Monday night, Adam. What are you doing with Toronto and New York?
Yeah, first of all, I apologize for the dogs. It's spring in the Northeast, and you just can't. The yard is a swamp, so they're not destroying my house. I apologize. They're barking a little bit. Of course, someone pulls up right as I'm going on the show. But as far as this play, I'm going with the Blue Jays here. This is a 4% client play for me. I think it's a tough spot for the Yankees. They had, a doubleheader at Cleveland on Saturday. They needed high leverage arms to get game one home. Needed 4 big innings from 3 different relievers to close out game one. Yesterday, they played an 8-7 extra innings game that needed 5 of their top, 5 of their available best relievers. They ended up losing the game 8-7 in a bit of like a gut punch as well. That was a game that they had multiple 2-run leads, and they end up losing 8-7. Now they've got to turn around and go up to Toronto, no off day, and play a Blue Jays team that's kind of in a nice revenge spot. The Blue Jays have had some recent success against the Yankees, but didn't have success in the opening weekend, in the opening series last weekend. Yankees took 2 of 3 in the Bronx. And so, I think you get the Jays in a little bit of a revenge spot. Probably something they've had circled was this series at home with the Yankees. The other thing I think, just before we get into the pitching, in regards to the Jays, I think they're a little bit undervalued at 8-8. I did the show last Monday, and we kind of talked about them going into their home opener, coming off of that brutal road trip. Rays, Astros, Yankees, all on the road. They ended up winning that game, and they're 4-2 at home, on this homestand so far. So I still think that the Jays, who I have as a legitimate contender in the American League, are still a little bit undervalued based on their 8-8 record, which is based on a very tough road trip to start the season. I have nothing against the Yankees. Like, I'm not a Yankee hater this year. I think this team is outstanding. They lead, they take patient at bats 1 through 9. Their lineup is great. But it's just how high I am on the Jays that I'm willing to play them in this spot, against what I do consider to be a very good Yankees team. The other thing I'm willing to sort of back here is Bassett. He had 2 really tough starts, but last week pitched great against the Mariners. Pitched into the 7th inning, 1 run, 8 strikeouts, no walks in that start. And he's been very good against the Yankees. You go back to last year, 14.2 scoreless innings, 19 strikeouts against the Yanks. You're talking about starting pitching. Heel is very good. I mean, the stuff is awesome for Luis Heel for the Yankees, but he's not exactly economical. He will run the pitch count up. He'll get his strikeouts, but he will put a couple guys on base. And I don't think he's pitched past the 5th inning yet this year. So that implies that here you probably need the Yankees bullpen for about 4 innings. So with all that being said, the spot and the fact that I still have Bassett, stronger than Hill in my starting pitching rankings, and I'm just astronomically high on the Blue Jays, probably higher than the market is. I had to play this game at minus 108, and I think it's minus 110 right now. I expect the Blue Jays to get it done in the first game of this series.
So I got to ask you about Bassett. Bassett got lit up his first 2 starts. Last time out, 115 pitches. I think that's the most any starter has thrown in baseball this year. I'm really worried about guys throwing 115 pitches and then backing them in their next start in April. Do you think that's an issue, or is it a non-factor here?
Teddy, with most guys, I would say it's probably an issue. With a guy like Bassett, who runs high pitch counts sort of regularly, I don't think it's as much of an issue here. So, I think he found a groove in his last start. And I guess for me, it's April, right? Like, had I seen this in August, and let's say he had like multi, high pitch outings and I could sense some fatigue, it'd be more of a factor. Here, it's his fourth start of the season. Clearly still looked to be in spring training mode and is working out the kinks in his first two starts. So for me, I'm more interested in the 1-run, 7 innings essentially of 1-run ball, building off of that, than I am concerned that he threw 115 as opposed to, would we even be having this conversation if he threw 102, right? Like, it's just less of a factor for me now at this point in the season.
Adam Trigger talking some MLB here on Monday. We have the Red Sox game in progress, 14 games on the nighttime card, so be sure to check out MLB First Pitch live at 2 o'clock Eastern today with Adam, myself, and Dan as we answer viewer questions. And let's look at another game while we still have you here on Wager Talk today, Adam. We're going to look at a game here for this evening between the Giants and Marlins. Talk about teams that are struggling out of the gate, the Marlins, and boy, what a tough loss yesterday for Miami. I'm really curious if you think they come out and bounce back from that, or if it lingers. I mean, this is a team that's had a miserable season. They're beating the mighty Braves, and we get an 0-2, not only a walk-off home run, but it was 2 outs and an 0-2 count. Guys, I meant to look it up. I don't know if I could find it to see, like, what percentage of the time in the history of baseball do you think a guy's hit a walk-off homer with an 0-2 count? I mean, I know the batting average, first of all, league-wide, when you have like an 0-2 or 1-2 is like below 100. So to hit a home run in that situation is just insane. Really curious, Marlins, Giants, what are you doing with this one?
Well, Steve, that's probably one of the reasons that keeps the Giants off my client card, though I haven't fully decided yet. But like the fact that like had the Marlins held on in that game, I'd probably be more inclined to play the Giants here. But they could bounce back. I think right now the Marlins they're a tough team to fade going forward because of how, where the market is on them. But like the matchup here screams play the Giants. So I guess I was just trying to answer your question off the top. As far as the Marlins are concerned, though, if you faded them to this point, you've done extremely well because this is just a bad baseball team. I mean, you mentioned it yesterday, one strike away from taking 2 of 3 from the Braves over the weekend. They give up a 3-run home run. They've now blown 5 leads this year. They don't have a single come from behind win. Their bullpen ERA is close to 6. All marks of they make errors, like all marks of a bad baseball team. And then you look at their offense, and it's horrific. I mean, their slugging percentage is as low, is dead last in the NL. They're as sort of, their lineup has no pop. It's as bad as any team in the league. And so, on the other hand, you got to ask yourself, are the Marlins just that much worse than they were priced at the beginning of the season, where there actually is still value going against them for the foreseeable future? Because remember, guys, this was a Marlins team that I think had a win total of like 77 or 78. This wasn't a team that was priced like the A's or the White Sox or the Rockies. They were, a team that people, probably expected to win close to half of their games, but they just haven't looked anything like that this season. The Giants, on the other hand, have been equally disappointing. For me last week, my really only blemish last week was trying to bet the Giants, a team that I think is better than the market says they are. Of course, I picked the wrong 2 days over the weekend. I played them on Friday and Sunday, and Saturday was the game they broke out and won 11-2. But I think if you're looking at these two teams, the underlying metrics suggest that the Giants will improve going forward. They have a pretty solid hard hit rate. The strikeout rate is low. They should generate some offense at some point. And so for that reason, in this series, I certainly think that the Giants have a potential edge. The other thing I like in this matchup is Kyle Harrison. So, we're looking at the starting pitching now. Harrison's an excellent prospect. He's someone that I kind of have had circled as find a place to play on him. Someone coming into the season that I thought could make an impact in their rotation. He's already got 2 quality starts. Hasn't been it's been tough to find a place to play against him because, of course, last time he came out was a pretty heavy favorite against the Nationals, but still 3 runs, 6 innings, 3 runs, 8 strikeouts, no walks. He's got a great fastball. And you know who's worse than any team in the league at hitting fastballs right now? It's the Marlins, who just can't get out of their own way offensively. Another nice sort of edge for the Giants here. Their bullpen's very rested. Blowout win on Saturday, blowout loss yesterday. So, they come in with all the bullpen pieces, whereas the Marlins, they're going to have multiple guys that aren't available today. And, I guess you're going to have AJ Puck, who is supposed to start this game out of the bullpen for the Marlins, but he's just walking batters left and right. So who knows if you even want him in there right now. Edward Cabrera is going to start for the Marlins. He looked good in his rehab outing, but I just still think there's more edges here for the Giants. Giants minus 110, higher upside. I really like Harrison, so that's the way I lean in this game.
Yeah. Puck was scratched early this morning. He had illness. I believe was the cause.
Oh, okay, so I assumed so then I like the Giants even more, really, because I thought that the plan was to move him back to the bullpen. So Edward Cabrera, I'll just expound real quick. He was down in Jacksonville. He made 3 starts, so he looks to be a full go. He pitched, I think, 6 innings in his most recent rehab outing. I think Puck will move back to the bullpen at some point for the Marlins. I think that was always the plan. But without him, without him available to come in after Cabrera, it puts the Marlins in even a more compromised position. So Giants is certainly the lean there for me.
So here's the question, Adam. In the NBA, when a team blows a lead and loses on a last-second shot, I oftentimes looks to bet on that team the next game, expecting a little bit of extra motivation. Same thing in the NFL. A team blows a lead and loses at the last second. I tend to look to bet on that team the next game. I don't do that in baseball. Miami coming off as demoralizing a loss as you'll ever have, including it came against their own former star, by the way, and Marcell Ozuna, who could be a Miami Marlin, but they don't have any money to pay anybody. In baseball, in general, demoralizing loss, blown save loss, next game, is that a bet on situation, a bet against situation, or neutral?
For me, it's neutral, but I lean more on fading that team. So that's for me. So that it comes up a little bit here with the Yankees. I'm playing against the Yankees. I thought that was a bit of I called it a gut punch in the last breakdown that we just did, right? Like they lose a game that they had multiple multi-run leads. They lose at 8-7. They have to come back out the next day. I do think that it can snowball. So Teddy, I would agree with you. I think there's, more of a snowball effect that occurs in baseball when you're playing every day. You blow a couple of leads like that, especially if you use your high leverage relief guys and then have to go out and go at it again the next day with maybe, your B relievers, which sometimes happens, especially in today's day and age with baseball. You get a guy that goes in there, your regular closer, he doesn't have it, he blows the save, he throws 30 pitches. Chances are you're coming in to the next game not only having that had happened, but maybe with your lesser relievers. So I would lean toward the way that you look at it, Teddy, where I would probably kind of fade that team that just lost a really heartbreaking game.
Yeah, I think my gut instinct is for bad teams especially, it's not a positive. When I saw that result yesterday, my first thought was, how do the Marlins show up tomorrow? They're now 3-13 on the season. They were a playoff team last year. And, Adam, I coach, the more I coach youth sports, I started using that more in my handicapping, as crazy as that might sound to people that don't coach. But, I see it as well. And obviously the kids and the pros are a little bit different, but momentum is a real thing in sports, both good and bad. And when things aren't going well for a team, and I've had bad teams, I've had good teams, winning becomes a habit. And we see that even in the franchises. Some teams like the Browns for decades can't get out of their own way. And yeah, I just think the Marlins are in a downward spiral. That's that falling knife I always say, don't try to catch. And you just got to figure yesterday did not help. Adam, we'll talk more baseball in a couple hours at 2 Eastern live here on WagerTalk TV, but let people know what you got going on at WagerTalk.com for Monday.
Yeah, so I have a 5% MLB play, just my second one of the season. The first one last week won pretty easily with the Reds. And I just gave you a 4%er with the Blue Jays for free here on this show. If I add anything else for today, it's going to go out of that package. So 5% play goes tonight. And yeah, I hope it's a 2-0 start to 5%ers in the MLB this year.
Adam Trigger. We'll be talking more baseball at 2 Eastern live, and be sure to catch us not only here on WagerTalk TV on YouTube, but YouTube Shorts. You can ask us live questions during the show. Sabrina's here from Mars. That's interesting. Ryan's asking if we'll be talking NHL. That'll be up in a few moments with our Monday resident Canadian Andrew McInnis. Ryan, thank you for watching us on YouTube Shorts. And don't forget Instagram Live, also a great place to interact and ask questions as well during the live shows here on WagerTalk TV. All right, Teddy, we've talked a lot of baseball. You've got your daily opening line report video, which is going to take a look at the NBA each day. I'll be doing an NBA playoff video, maybe starting tomorrow with the games beginning tomorrow in the Western Conference play-in. But the series prices are out for some of the matchups that are known. And I honestly think maybe the most important first-round matchup is Mavericks-Clippers at 4-5 in the West. We've known that's been the matchup before even the season ended this weekend. And whoever wins that could make some serious noise. I mean, both the Mavericks and Clippers could be serious sleepers in the West. So I'm curious who you think will even advance to the next round.
Yeah, I think the winner of this series does have a live path to the finals. Number 1 seed, Oklahoma City. Let's just say they're playoff vulnerable. And, of course, depending on who comes out of the play-in games in the West, if you got Lakers and Warriors are coming out of the play-in games, even the Pelicans, I don't think any of those teams are going to be easy to beat. And, Sacramento wasn't a pushover last year either. That being said, let's talk about the Clippers and the Mavericks. And again, right now, look at the WagerTalk live on screen. This is not a mature line yet. But Dallas, the early favorite in the series, I'm seeing minus 125 for the Mavs, plus 105 for the Clippers. So you have the lower seed. The team is playing games 1 and game 2 on the road. The team is playing game 7 on the road. And yet, they are the favorites in the series for good reason. All right, let's start with this. Full season numbers for both teams are lying. All right, Dallas, mediocre for extended stretches in the first half of the campaign. After the trading deadline, when they remade the roster, P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, and that Washington-Gafford lively trio in the front court was huge for Dallas. They weren't there in the first half of the season. They're there now. All right. You throw in Luka and Kyrie when you talk about a backcourt duo that you trust and believe in the postseason. I'll take my shot with that duo any day of the week. On the other side, and Dallas has the depth. Look at the Mavericks' defensive numbers over the second half of the season. Top 5 defensive team. And then we have the Clippers. They've got the star power. Well, not like the Mavericks doesn't. They got Luka and Kyrie. But James Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Russell Westbrook, all aging veterans, some of whom are still hungry. The Clips were not a hungry team down the stretch, all right? And maybe the switch is going to flip. Maybe they get swept, all right? Do you trust Harden in a playoff series? No, okay? Absolutely not. Kawhi's hurt. How healthy is he going to be? Is he going to be healthy at all? If Kawhi's not 110%, the Clips are not going anywhere, all right? And he missed the last week and a half of the season, including meaningful games. I think it's a mismatch. I think this series is legitimately mispriced, and I think Dallas is going to win. Minus 125 looks cheap for this better when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks. Minus 125 series price makes a whole lot of sense to me. Check out the new daily podcast, the opening line report on WagerTalk TV. Each and every day. Steve?
Yep. Another reason to hit subscribe and hit the bell as well for instant alerts when Teddy's daily opening line report goes up, when my NBA playoff previews each day go up. And we have someone asking if we'll get to the Pirates game today. We're not going to have time to get to that here, Eric, but I will do a solo video on Mets Pirates right after this show. So once again, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll give you a little bonus baseball. Eric DeLong was asking about that Pirates-Mets game here on WagerTalk TV. All right. Also, Ryan was asking, of course, in Instagram or YouTube Shorts, if we're doing any NHL. We will, because right now we're bringing on Andrew McInnis, and he's going to, of course, look at baseball first. Though we're going to close with NHL. Make them wait, Andrew. Keep them hanging on the line there for that coveted NHL game down the stretch. And by the way, 4 days left in hockey. Playoffs start on Saturday in the NHL as well. MLB though, let's look at the Rays Angels. What are you doing with this game, Andrew?
So, guys, I've made it very clear. My MLB handicapping, I'm not as much betting on teams and betting on pitchers, but more so just betting against teams and betting against pitchers, which is why team totals are an avenue I'll continue to look at. And the funny thing is, the last time I was on the show and talked about a baseball game, well, I was betting against the Angels and backing the Orioles, and I was also betting against Patrick Sandoval. Well, he lasted 1 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 5 runs. I'm not sure that'll happen again here this time around, guys. Let's be honest. They're not all going to be that easy. The next time he went out was against the Marlins. He had much better performance. 5.2 innings he went and gave up 2 earned runs. But when it comes down to it, one thing that I struggled with early on in my MLB handicapping days was just not going with the trend, not keeping it simple, stupid. And again, you want to bet on or against certain teams early on in the season and not wait until July and August when you start jumping on things here. And Sandoval actually has already faced this Tampa Bay Rays lineup. He went 5 innings, gave up 4 earned runs off 6 hits. And I want to bet against them. And when I'm looking for team totals, guys, I always want plus money. Overnight, number was plus 110 on the over 4.5 runs for the Rays. It has since moved to plus 105 or plus 100. And I get it. This Rays offense has been very inconsistent. Good for them, right? They put up some runs against the Rockies. Not very impressive. It has been kind of a mixed bag of a schedule. Some good teams, some bad here for this Rays team. But I feel like this is a great matchup for them to get their offense going. And, when Sandoval leaves the game, I'm not too concerned that it's going to slow down the offense for the Rays, as the Angels bullpen should be quite fatigued. They've got 3 pitchers right now in their bullpen that have had quite a few pitches over the last couple of days here. Fulmer with 62, Suarez with 48. So even when Sandoval does exit the game, I'm hopeful the Rays can continue to pile on the runs against the bullpen. So didn't really plan on this here, Teddy, but back-to-back times talking baseball and betting against the same pitcher. Hopefully it goes as well as it did last time.
Do you worry at all about the Rays lineup, which, they've scored 3 runs or less, 10 home games. They've had 3 runs or less in 6 of them. Yes, they had an outburst yesterday, but that's certainly been the exception rather than the rule. This has been an anemic lineup so far this season in many regards.
Absolutely. So when I look at these team totals, I'm not just looking at the pitcher that I'm betting against. Of course, I do have to look at the lineup. But every now and then, I do make exceptions. And I look at the bullpen fatigue. I look at the starter here. I look at the fact that they were able to get to him the other day. Why should I think things will be any different? And this team does need to wake up. They do need to start putting some runs on the board. But I'm confident this is a situation they can do so. And, if they don't, Teddy, you know what I do? I stay away from the Rays for a little while here. The last straw, we'll see what the Rays can do for me tonight.
And Andrew, a lot of interactive viewers on the YouTube Shorts. We're going to make Ryan wait a little bit longer for that NHL talk that he desires, because we did get a question just now from Tremaine318. What do you think about bonus no-run first inning bets in MLB? And I know, Andrew, you do a lot with props. Teddy and I, not as much. So what are your thoughts on these first inning bets? Or something you're messing with?
So I'll say this, guys. I think the YRFI, the yes run first inning bet, has actually been something people should look at more towards now than the NRFI. We'll have to get Ralph Michaels, the stat daddy, to look at these. But, the trends and the popular stuff, Steve, you do your Fade the Public video. I guarantee if you did a Fade the Public about this particular prop, I would catch you betting a lot of YRFIs, because people are jumping on the bandwagon with the no-run first inning. And a lot of times, of course, with these really popular, favorable, strong pitchers, and, they get hit. And I've noticed sometimes it happens to be like there'll be 1-0 or 1-1 after the first, and then the second inning has no runs, third inning has no runs, fourth inning has no runs. I feel like it's kind of like the first period over in hockey. The market's been oversaturated with it. It is an opportunity to make some money, and you can pick your spots, but don't you guys feel like sometimes when a market gets so jam-packed and everyone starts discovering it, it's just not as profitable anymore? That's kind of what I found. So I'd actually be more likely to bet on the yes run first inning than the no. That's just my 2 cents.
Interesting, because in general, the public usually likes runs. They like overs. They like scoring. So it's a little counterintuitive there. And Ralph, I think, has thrown up some charts over the last year or so, because like you said, it's becoming more mainstream. And if anybody has a direct question, feel free to reach out to Ralph on Twitter at CalSportsLV. Ralph Michaels is also going to have his NBA playoff guide up, I think, later today. So check that out at CalSportsLV. And don't forget to check out Andrew, Teddy, and myself on Twitter and X as well. All right, Andrew, let's get to that NHL to finish the show. Prez does a presidential address. He's Canadian, so I can't do a presidential address. I'm American, but I'm sure not going to do a prime minister address. So we're going to have to get the hockey from you today on the show. And you're looking Canadiens and Red Wings. What are you doing with this game?
Guys, the old expression, must win does not mean will win. And there's going to be a lot of games over the next couple of days, including a handful of them today in the NHL, where it's teams that need wins to make the playoffs, need wins to get home ice in the playoffs, need wins to get a particular matchup in the playoffs, in the postseason. You're going to see people lining up at the window, right? Lining up at the kiosk, betting these teams that have to win their games. And I will stress, these teams, just because they have to, might not win. And the Montreal Canadiens right now, I believe, are primed to play upset, are primed to play spoiler. And they're playing the Red Wings tonight in Detroit. And then tomorrow, once again, in Montreal. It's a home-and-home series. And we're going to get around the same price, I believe, in both games. Obviously, home ice will be a factor here. But I'm just not buying into this monstrous price we're seeing for the home team in the Detroit Red Wings. Guys, over the last 20 games the Red Wings have played, they have won just 6 of those. This is a struggling team as an underdog, struggling team as a big favorite, and a very top-heavy team. And every year we see this, where there's teams that play spoiler down the stretch. Last year, the Pittsburgh Penguins needed a win. They needed a win in one of their last 2 games. They played Chicago and they played Anaheim. They lost both of those games. What did Chicago and Anaheim have in common last year? They had younger players. So the way I look at it, teams that are out of contention, they are eliminated from the playoff position, right? Those teams that are older, I find, pack it in a lot earlier than the teams that are younger. The Canadiens are one of the youngest teams in the league. They've taken down teams like Colorado, Dallas, Florida. They are fighting all the way until the last game. The younger teams are the teams, to me, that hang on and continue to battle. So at plus 170, and I'll be betting this again tomorrow, guys, to make it very clear. I think if you bet Montreal tonight, you bet them again tomorrow, they're going to win one of the games. You'll cash some plus money here. But a team that's won 6 games in their last 20, laying minus 220 chalk, I'm not buying it. I'll take the dog here.
Fade Hockey Town, says Andrew McInnis. The Red Wings not deserving of this big price that you're being asked to lay. Andrew McInnis, what do you have to promote on Monday, tax day, April 15th?
Yeah, we all love tax day, don't we? Not really a fun day, but hopefully we can have fun tonight cashing a 5% ticket, 5% NHL high limit bet for me, guys. I have a promo code, AM15, AM15 will take $15 off my favorite play in the NHL. It's a Monday, not known for a big slate, not known for a great slate in the NHL, but some great bet on situations. So you can grab my 5% play, take $15 off, or as you guys mentioned, last day to buy a 30-day pass, we'll toss on an extra 7 days. So a great day here at WagerTalk.com. Guys, great being here with you as always. Teddy, I look forward to seeing some of those hats in your opening shows there. You'll have to go over to Sherapan's house and see what he has
that's what I was thinking.
for you for those hats. But good seeing you guys.
Yeah, I was like, he will not have enough videos left in his shelf for the rest of his career to wear all the hats Sherapan has. That man definitely has some write-offs. Speaking of tax day, Sherapan has a lot of write-offs when it comes to memorabilia.
Well, like the hats with the tight brim, I just don't. They look really stupid on me. I can't wear the hat Sherapan here. I got to have a curved brim up top, or So I'll probably wear my crappy old Michigan hat a lot of times. What do you do?
Yeah, it's funny.
It's wake up and do a show, dude. It's unfiltered. What am I going to do?
I don't know. We might be onto something. Like, guess what hat Teddy's going to wear each day? This could add some viewers, Teddy. This might be a good prop.
I don't have a lot of hats. That's what I'm saying. I got my Michigan cap.
It's a problem.
I got sportsbook hats. I think I have one from Lake Placid, but not that many.
That's a good one.
It.
Well, Teddy, I enjoyed doing the shows with you. Yeah, well, I enjoyed doing the shows with you. I'm going to definitely check in those the next several days because I'll miss my Teddy covers when I don't get to guest host here for the Prez, but I get to watch the daily opening line report now as well. And I hopefully will have an NBA video up this week. Maybe it start tomorrow as well. So once again, hit subscribe, hit that bell. You'll get instant alerts when our videos go up each and every day throughout the NBA playoffs here. MLB first pitch live 2 Eastern. NBA tip-off 4:15 Eastern. We'll have our first look at the playoffs for this week. And also don't forget the Prez is likely back tomorrow. Traffic cameras say he is en route back to Toronto from Montreal, and I'm sure he'll have a report on his poker tournament, so don't worry. In the meantime, please comment below if you're watching this on the replay here on YouTube TV. The majority of people do watch the replay, so we love the comments, the questions. we will go in and read those and answer them as well. I'm on a nice run, guys. Swept yesterday on Sunday. 3-0 sweep on best bets and free plays. Now on an 8-2 free play best bet run. 5-1 on best bets the last 4 days alone. Free plays have gone 3-1. Check out the daily free plays. I've also got a strong baseball best bet tonight. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. And as Teddy mentioned, last chance to get 30 days at a discount, and they get another 7 days for free. It's a fantastic offer today, Monday. You must do it before it expires at midnight. Teddy, I know you've got a strong baseball play as well and a free play. Let people know what you got going on and then take us home.
I've got a strong MLB play for today and a free play. Check them out right now.
Boom! I was right.
WagerTalk.com. Problem solved. That's going to wrap it for the Monday edition. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. Between now and tomorrow's show, enjoy the games and best of luck with your wagers.